Hey everyone, and thanks for checking this out. This is the second video from a recent trip I took to Norfolk and Newport News, Virginia. Today we're at the latter location looking at two coal terminals. The closest, with the overhead structures, is owned by Kinder Morgan. The open facility behind it is Dominion Terminal Associates, a joint venture owned by Alpha Metallurgical Resources and Arch Resources. This area is just off the Chesapeake Bay. We'll check out how the facilities work and watch as coal is unloaded from rail cars and then loaded onto a ship. As you can see, there's a lot of coal here. If you haven't seen my video from the Norfolk Southern Terminal at Lambert's Point, I recommend you check that out just so you can see how different these facilities are. Here's a look at where we are in Newport News and how the facility is oriented. Up is north in this Google Maps image. You can see the piers coming out into the water. This is a very busy area. There were two ships at the terminal the first day I stopped by in late April. The one closest to us is the Lawrence Francois. The furthest is the Marin Horizon. Just like the other coal terminals we've seen, everything here is brought in by rail car. There are a total of 5 load tracks, 2 of which we can see have loaded coal trains on them. Each track can hold as many as 500 coal cars. Here we see coal cars set to enter the loading shed. I'm sure this has a thaw in it for the winter months. Inside, I'm assuming at this tallest point here, 2 cars are separated and then pushed into position by an electronic positioner. I'll include a link in the description to better describe that, but in its simplest terms, it simply pushes the cars into position to be unloaded by the rotary dumper. It doesn't require a locomotive and can precisely position the cars. Here we see how slowly they're being pushed into the dumper. Let's take a look inside and see how this all works. A former employee sent me this video showing the rotary dumper in action. Thank you so much for the footage. I really do appreciate it, and I'm sure everyone watching does as well. We see the car slowly rolling toward us. 2 cars are being dumped at a time. Then you can see the coal starts to spill over and empties into a hopper below. Here we see another set of cars being unloaded. Real quick, here's what keeps the cars locked into position. You can see it clamped down into place as the car is being rolled. At the Kinder Morgan facility, the coal is dumped at a rate of up to 5,200 tons an hour. Compare that to Lambert's Point, which can do up to 8,000 tons an hour. Meanwhile, the Sandusky coal dock on Lake Erie, well, it can only do about half of this facility at a little over 2,600 tons an hour. This conveyor belt carries the unloaded coal topside. This is where it sees daylight. Conveyor belts then carry it higher and higher. It makes a left turn and then can be distributed anywhere along that overhead structure. There's an operator in the top of the tower who controls everything. Here's a closer look. If you look, you can see the conveyor belt moving. From there, you can see the coal can be sent on one of the 2 structures to distribute it. Here's a wider look at the coal piles and how far that coal can be transported by conveyor belt. Keep an eye out and you'll spot where the coal is being sent. The red arrow shows us where all this coal is being unloaded. The yellow and gray chute is sending it to a specific pile. You can also see bulldozers keeping that pile in good order. As we keep panning, we see more bulldozers getting the coal where it needs to be. The Kinder Morgan facility has a ground storage capacity of 1.4 million net tons of coal. It also has 3 silos to hold cement. They have a capacity of up to 35,000 net tons. We'll get a wider view of them in a minute. So we've seen how the coal gets from the rail cars to the storage piles, but what about to the ships? The Kinder Morgan facility can load as much as 8,000 tons per hour from the coal piles. It can do as many as 5,000 tons an hour from rail cars straight to a ship. I didn't catch it in action, but it starts with this little structure in front of you. The coal is fed into an underground hopper. From there, it then goes onto a conveyor belt, which carries it to one of these things. The coal is then brought above ground and then dumped onto another conveyor belt, making a sharp right turn. As we follow, we see another underground loader. I'm not sure what this building is, but it looks like it can add a chemical additive to the coal or something else, depending on the need of the customer. The coal is then elevated, dropped onto a conveyor belt, making another 90-degree turn, and then it heads towards the water, finally making its way to the ship. Here's a better view of the coal loader. I'm not exactly sure what it reminds me of, but it's either a bug of some sort, maybe an alien. The coal is then fed up top and then drops into a hopper where it will be sent to the belly of the ship. Here we see the bridge of the Lawrence Francois. I don't know if there's any major design changes between Great Lakes going vessels and these ocean going ones, so if you have any information, do let me know. Could an ocean going vessel easily travel the Great Lakes and vice versa? It's always tough to see the little things while flying my drone, but today I noticed pretty quickly there wasn't any coal being loaded. The conveyor belt's moving, but there's just nothing being carried. Well, let's back up and get a wider shot and take a comparison of how big the loader is compared to the ship. Now you can also see those 3 cement silos and how tall they are. And to the left is a pier that's capable of unloading ships. I'll have more on that in a little bit. Well, back to the conveyor belt and the unloader. You can see the control room for the unloader right there. It looks like the operator is able to get to it by a catwalk. To the left of it, you can see the massive cargo hold covers. At the right of the screen, you can see the conveyor belt moving, which carries the coal to the unload chute. We also see the hatches are closed. This looks like a helicopter pad to me. Is that true, or is this just decorative? These loaders, despite being so massive, are actually quite nimble. They ride on rails and are able to navigate the entire length of the pier. Well, the other ship is a little too far away to get up close, so I think I'm going to call it a day. I wanted to catch an Amtrak train leaving the Norfolk station, and I plan to stop back by Lambert's Point for my other video. We'll come back tomorrow and hopefully have a little better luck catching some coal being loaded. Well, it's the next day and our ship is gone. It's been replaced with the Simona Energy, or maybe the Simona or Kaimona Energy. However you say it, we've got a new ship and it looks like it's being loaded. It also looks like a second ship has arrived at the Dominion terminal. You can see the loader moving around within the cargo hold. Notice how it's able to rotate to get into every corner. The chute's also able to rise and lower and change the direction the coal's being sent. That cargo hold is about as dark can be. I'm surprised there aren't any lights or something like that to help guide the unloader operator. A different view sheds some sunlight on the coal in the cargo hold. Let's just watch this in action. Notice how quickly the chute is able to change direction. Once again, it looks like everything on this unloader is adjusted through cables. Here we see how the coal is actually fed into the chute. It's brought up on this conveyor belt and then dropped onto a smaller one. This is a pretty ingenious design if you ask me. The conveyor belt runs the entire length of the pier, so after it's dropped the coal, it's fed down the underside. It then makes a nearly 180-degree turn, and you can see it continues empty down the pier before making another turn to head back and pick up more coal and start the trip all over again. Because of that design, the loader is able to use the entire length of the dock without any additional conveyor belts. Well, that's it for this ship. Let's take a quick look at the Dominion Pier and its unloader. It's very similar in design and functionality, but it doesn't appear to be nearly as substantial as the Kinder Morgan loader. You can see the chute disappears into the cargo hold. Behind it, you can see the I-664 Monitor Merrimack Memorial Bridge tunnel. The second day I stopped by, there was a new ship at the Dominion Pier. This is the Santander. I'm not sure if it's already loaded or what, but it does seem to be sitting much lower in the water than our ship. Here's a wider view. You can see all the container cranes south of where we are at the top of your screen. Well, folks, that does it for the loading portion of the video. There's still a few odds and ends I spotted around the facilities that I'll describe, but I do hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll put links to my other coal loading videos in the description if you want to see how it's done at some other facilities. Well, until our next trip, I hope you have a great day. We start the odds and ends with the SL3 on the left and the SL1 on the right. These are General Electric SL110 locomotives. There is an SL2 somewhere in here, but I couldn't spot it. All three locomotives were delivered new to the facility and have spent their entire lives on the coal pier. I guess you could say they're the railroad equivalent of organ donors. Meanwhile, the Black River in Western 908 is an EMD SW8. It blew its motor years ago, so I'm guessing it's just around for parts as well. Here's what's pushing those coal cars that we saw behind the locomotives, another GE SL110. I always find it amazing, the tractive force that these small little engines have. Here we see another switcher attached to those gondolas. As we take one last look around the coal pile, notice all the water being sprayed. That's to keep the dust from flying everywhere. This has been an ongoing issue for Newport News as well as the community around the Lambert's Point coal facility. The giant machines in the Dominion terminal in the background are stacker reclaimers, and they do just what their name implies. They stack the coal into these massive piles on their 67-acre storage yard. Two of them are reclaimers, meaning that they can actually pull material from the piles and send it off to be loaded onto ships. Looks like there are 3 tracks for these machines. I'll include a link in the description to a video showing how they're able to do both. Well, I almost forgot about the unloading pier. Kinder Morgan spent nearly $60 million building this coal import facility. But just as it was being finished in 2008, the coal import market collapsed. I believe this pier has only seen a handful of ships in that time. These work like many old-style clamshell unloaders. They reach into the cargo hold, clamp down, carry the coal out, and then put it over these hoppers and then just drop it in. The conveyor belt underneath would then carry it to a storage area at the facility. The red area shows where the coal would end up being unloaded, but that area now has export coal being stored there since that pier never really took off. We'll finish with these locomotives. One's a rebuilt GP9 that was originally a high hood built for the Texas-Mexican Railway. We also have an EMD SW8 that was originally built for the Lehigh Valley. Finally, I just wanted to get some video of these ships because they're just absolutely massive. The one closest to us is the Cape Wrath. So I'm unable to get to the name of the other ship, so if you know, please do comment below. They are both very cool to see in person, and it is incredible at how massive these are. Well, that really does it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do hope you have a great day.